Hey guys, Andy here. I'm a little late to the party on this one, but I'm upgrading my mother's phone. So we've bought the Pixel 9a in the reasonably fresh Black Friday sales. £150 saved. She also had a voucher because her Pixel 6a had that battery problem that you might have known about. So she had a £150 voucher. So we've got this for 200, which seems like a bit of a bargain. This isn't going to be a full review because I'm not going to have the phone for very long, but I'm going to do a little unboxing. We'll have a little quick play with it. I might run a few little tests on it, we'll see. But I thought, yeah, it'd be quite nice just to have a look at the 9A because I just feel like the A series are such a good series of phone that they're in that kind of mid-range price bracket, but actually they've got a lot of qualities of the higher end Pixel devices. So it's kind of a win-win for a lot of people. So yeah, I thought let's take a look at the 9A. Here we go, this is the box. It's quite a thin, small box, but it's got a little bit of weight to it, which in some ways is a reassuring thing. Obviously these days, phones are provided without like chargers, so the charging brick would often be the thing that would take the most, or would add quite a bit of thickness to a box. And there is our first look at the device. So this one, as you might have told from the outside, is I think it's the Iris, this one's called. I don't know, it's called purple. I mean, I guess it's quite a light purple, it's a particular shade of purple. It's available in 4 different colours: obsidian, porcelain, iris, and peony. Let's drop it out of the box, and before we play with the actual device itself, let's just check what we've got. So there's the SIM ejection tool. It needs a nano SIM, or it will work on an eSIM. All right, I don't really need to really particularly look at that. And you can see there it does come with a USB-C cable. Let's just pop that a bit aside. So the device itself is 186 grams. So, I mean, that's fairly average phone weight, I would have said these days. You can see there where the buttons are, power, speaker, or volume up, volume down. Oh dear, I was hoping to get into this and wrap it back up like it had never been touched, but that's gone out the window. Wow, normally this thing just falls off. This is new. You have to fight your way into the device. That's quite an odd feeling on the back. It feels a bit papery. If I'm honest, not in a good way, an odd feeling. It sounds a bit kind of cheap plastic. And to me, it feels quite nice, but it does feel a bit cheap plastic. The sides feel fine. And it's got a reasonable weight to it. So yeah, as we've seen, power button, the volume controls, SIM tray at the bottom, USB-C, and one of the speakers. It does have stereo speakers. I'll start it booting up, hopefully. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff. So it's IP68 dust tight and water resistant, so immersible up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. It's pretty strong. It has the Google Tensor G4, which is an upgrade from the G3 in the Pixel 8a. It's got an octa-core CPU. Not that indifferent to what's in my Pixel 9 Pro, to be honest. The graphics chip is a Mali G715 MP7, if that means anything to anybody. This, I think, is the 128 gig version with 8 gig of RAM. You can get that in a 256 gig version, also with 8 gig of RAM, both of them with UFS 3.1 RAM. It does have NFC, has stereo speakers. We will see eventually. That's interesting. Why has it started out? Other sensors it's got a fingerprint sensor, under display optical fingerprint sensor, accelerometer, gyro, proximity sensor, which I'm a little curious about. I'm not quite sure what that, let's give that for the minute. Compass and barometer. All set. Okay. The screen itself is a 6.3 inch POLED screen, 1080p by 2420, which is a 422 pixel density. It's 120 hertz, sorry, and it will run at 1800 nits, but it will peak at 2700 nits. And this was probably kind of the main thing that I could see that was different to the 8A, if I'm honest. The 8A's peaked at 2000 nits. There wasn't a huge amount different between the 8A and the 9A, I don't think. I'd looked through GSM Arena, compared them, and it's all little tweaks here and there, little improvements here and there, slightly bigger battery. I think the screen might have been slightly smaller, slightly lighter. The MOHS level was different. This has got Corning Gorilla Glass 3, if that matters to you. I think the cameras were different, or the cameras were less, I think. So the main lens is a 48 megapixel f1.7. The secondary sort of ultra wide is 13 megapixel 2.2. The main camera can record at 4K at 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, which is pretty good. And 1080p will record up to 240 frames per second, which is quite cool. Optical image stabilization, and it says on the video only, gyro EIS, electronic image stabilization. For the actual camera and photos, it just says optical image stabilization. The front-facing camera, 13 megapixel f2.2, and it will record 4K in 30 frames per second or 1080p in 30 frames per second. The only other thing to mention, I suppose, then, is the battery, which is a LiPo 5100 milliamp hours. It has stepped up from 18 watts wired charging, fastest charging on the 8A, to 23. So this will use power delivery 23 watts. Wireless is still 7.5 watts for charging. And it does have bypass charging, where you limit it to 80% to try and give the battery better life by not charging to full all the time. So what I might do is try and play with a little bit either this evening or in the morning, and just give you some very initial thoughts on the device. But like I say, it won't be a full review. So via the magic of editing, we'll move on to that next. Hey guys, and I'm back. So, it's literally about 24 hours later, and I can't lie, I've not spent a lot of time with this phone, but I've had a bit of a play, I've installed a few things, I've tried some stuff, because yeah, this isn't the full review, this is just like a first impression, literally a first impression of the device. But yeah, I've been able to play with it. One thing I noticed, obviously, they're quite noticeable bevels around the outside there. Not a problem, just, that is noticeable. But all in all, it does seem a very nice device. There's a few things that I would say are pretty good. So let's go into Pocket Casts, and I'll give you a bit of a demo of the speakers, for example.
I'm Richard Osman. Hello, Marina.
Hello, Richard. How are you?
I'm all right. I was right. On Tuesday's episode, I've yet to watch another episode of All's Fair, Kim Kardashian.
There's still time.
There's still time. I don't have the itch.
Don't have itch. I'm not drunk enough.
It's pretty loud. I like listening to podcasts, audiobooks, even just phone calls I like to have on the kind of the speaker mode. And they're pretty good. They're not amazing. You're not going to listen to music particularly. You're not going to have parties off the speakers, but they're pretty good. They've got a good enough volume and a reasonably rounded sound. Actually, it's a little bit of bass. Excuse me, hiccups. I ran Geekbench. I don't know if it lets me see. There we go. So I ran Geekbench. Yeah, you can see basically the scores. They're not that far off last year's flagship Samsung device. A little bit further from the multi-core, but that is against Samsung's flagship, last year's. But I thought that wasn't bad. I thought I haven't had enough time to judge the battery. I think we're still at we're high 50s. So I was at 80% yesterday. 24 hours later, it's high 50s, like 58, I think that says. And again, I've not been using it a lot. A few photos, listened to a few things, installing a few stuff, played a few games. So I did try Real Racing 3. Seemed smooth enough. I think I could quite easily play that on this device. There was no problems with that. So performance-wise, that was fine. The cameras, so I tried them last night in the low light, as you might, and that is normally as you go into the mid-range, like daylight, most phones these days cope okay and can give a reasonably good picture. And that is the case with this. Today, took a few photos, looked okay, a little bit of video. It was all right, wasn't amazing. You know, panning didn't look fantastic, but it was okay. But I think rewind to last night when I took a couple of photos and I took a little bit of video, and I think that's where you sort of see the difference really. I guess, I don't know actually, I've not checked, but I guess it's not a big enough sensor or just not a good enough sensor. You can't, and when you come to this mid-range, it's hard to pack the quality in there, I suppose. For a mid-range device, so right now, £350, even when it's full price, well, I don't know, who buys these full price? Excuse me. Because even before that, quite often it was £100 off, or, I mean, gift I think we're doing it at £250 at one point. I don't know if they still are, but £250 for something like this, I think it's a bargain, basically. You almost be silly not to, unless you really do want that top end. You want a really good camera and some of the other things that you get with those top end devices. But yeah, again, this isn't a full review, just a bit of a quick look around. Yeah, the screen, I've not really been able to, it's not been bright enough for me to test the screen, really. I've not played much, I mean, I think it looks nice enough. I don't think there's any particular concerns. The device is nice and slick and fast. Speakers sound good, the camera's okay. I think it's a really good phone. So there you go, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What I would say, I've mentioned before, I'm kind of trying to make a little bit of a comeback on YouTube. Maybe comeback's wrong, just because maybe I didn't go anywhere. Well, I kind of did go away. But I am thinking, I do enjoy making the videos, doing reviews. So I have ordered a Poco device, which is on its way. So I will be reviewing that soon. So if you've lasted long enough on this video, you've heard that news. That'll be coming in the next couple of weeks, the videos. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Pixel 9a in the comments down below. My name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.